you very much for joining us on our first virtual Alumni Forum. In these difficult times, especially, it is important that we get together and we work together in order to resolve the challenges that all of us are facing. So today, at this forum, we will look back at our achievements, celebrate some of our achievements, but also what I would like to do is to look into the future and understand what lies ahead of us for INSEAD and for the community. But before I start with my presentation, I want to dedicate this forum to Claude Johnson, who passed away in March this year. Claude was one of the founders of INSEAD, and without Claude, there wouldn't be INSEAD. In the beginning, Claude was taking care of the school, trying to find funding, land. Later on, he was a chairman of the board and then honorary chairman. But behind these titles, what we don't see is the impact that he really had on the school. Claude not only started INSEAD, he was the chairman of the board that pushed INSEAD to open a campus in Singapore. Without Claude, I don't know whether we'll be here in Singapore. Claude was instrumental in setting up campus in Abu Dhabi. And he was always thinking about how to increase the diversity and the global outreach of the school. Claude contributed beyond imagination to the success of our school. Again, we're all here thanks to Claude and to Liki. But here is now something more cheerful. In February this year, Financial Times ranked INSEAD #1 program in the world again for a third time in 6 years. I am very proud and very happy about this ranking, not only because we're #1, but also because in many different components of the ranking, INSEAD progressed substantially. Particularly diversity in the classroom, so the percentage of women in the classroom or on boards and faculty, all of these categories increased. Research ranking increased from #18 to #3. So we were successful in a lot of things that actually do matter in my view. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you, all of you who have helped us achieve this success. What is happening in the school today? In our degree programs, we have our MBAs, 915 instead of the usual 1,000. That was because a lot of students in 21J decided to postpone their enrollment until later, until the pandemic is over. Our executive MBA is running with 160 participants, and we just started a new Master in Management program. Master in Management is for pre-experienced students, students who come right out of university or have like 1 year of experience. It's a new market that has been developing in the last 20 years, focusing mostly on developing the hard skills, data science, a little bit of soft skills as well, but they don't come with the experience that the MBAs come into the classroom. So it's a slightly different program. We have 97 participants, and we're now going to grow this even further in the next year. So the students were in Fontainebleau, and now since March they're here in Singapore. In executive education, things are a little bit more complicated. Because of the travel restrictions, many executives and companies could not set up in-person classes or could not join us for in-person classes. But that actually opened an opportunity for us to develop a completely new category of live virtual programs. We were pioneers in developing asynchronous customized programs for companies since 2014, but we had never developed a synchronous program where the teacher is teaching at the same time when the students are watching the video. All of a sudden, we created a bunch of those programs, 42, and they have been very successful. Some of these programs have ratings of 5 out of 5. They're rated higher than their in-person equivalent. And not only that we changed the in-person ones, but we introduced completely new live virtual programs in the areas of fintech, governance in times of uncertainty, artificial intelligence, and so on, and many, many others. In the customized programs, which again, as you know, INSEAD is a leader in this category, We got a lot of success in gaining new clients. And some of these companies, as you can see, are quite big. But I put this slide also to recognize the importance of our alumni in helping us deliver this. With Hitachi, we won a very big global advanced program in leadership. It's an online asynchronous program. And the reason that we won this program, according to the program director, Phil Anderson, is because we have alumni who act as coaches while the program is delivered. So I want to thank the 6 alumni who participate in the program and who helped us actually deliver something that is different, that is outstanding compared to other schools. This is what is happening in the school today. What lies ahead of us? I wanted to talk a little bit about the trends for all of the schools, for management education, not just INSEAD. And I've listed them here. I'll go one by one over them. So digitalization, business and society, lifelong learning, equity, diversity and inclusion, campus, and sustainability. So let me start with campus because it's one of the most controversial ones. Many people think you don't need physical assets, everything is digital from now on. And as you know, I wrote an article disagreeing with this statement because a lot of the learning is happening while people interact with each other. There is the vertical dimension of learning where you listen to a professor, you learn from in the classroom, but then a big part of learning is happening when you interact with your classmates, when you're working with teams, to solve problems. And for this, you need physical space. In fact, every company recognizes this, and many of them postpone the programs until they can have in-person delivery. The campus, however, has to be a little bit different than probably what we used to have. Predominantly lecture halls, auditoriums, and so on. Now more kind of like free flow space where people can easily interact, bump into each other, and just discuss what was delivered in the classroom. The second big trend is lifelong learning. For everyone, it is clear that the pace at which the world is changing requires that we acquire continuously new knowledge and new skills. We've built platforms. We started 2 years ago with our lifelong learning platform. We've built a platform where you can interact with each other for mentoring, advice, counseling, so peer-to-peer career counseling and so on. And we'll continue investing in this. I would say that what we had done with these webinars, we have about 80 webinars that you can go and watch now, is just the beginning of what we want to do in this space. But this is super important for us. The third trend, digitalization, it's recognized by everybody that digitalization will affect every business, including education and management education. And I already talked about our synchronous programs, our asynchronous programs, our blended programs. We're thinking about a new master in data analytics course. But one thing that very few people know is that we have also pioneered virtual reality cases. So we started about a year and a half ago building these cases, which instead of reading, you're actually watching the case. And it is so interesting how there's so many dimensions of a case that you cannot write down, but you can deliver in a video format. So this is really a new pioneering, I think, a breakthrough that you'll be seeing more and more. The next trend is about equity, diversity, and inclusion. In the last few years, more and more people talk about this. For us, it started in 1959 when we had 53 students coming to INSEAD from all over Europe with the idea to build an inclusive environment for people from, at the time, all over Europe. Today, we have 94 nationalities. This trend will be defining a lot of strategies for schools going forward. And I think the same is true for INSEAD. And I have listed some of the ideas that we already are considering and implementing. The other thing that you have heard me talk about, another trend that you have heard me talk about many, many times is business and society. Actually, starting in 2014, I talked about business as a force for good. And in 2018, we started the Hoffman Institute for Business and Society, focusing on research, teaching, outreach, and walk the talk. It is very important that INSEAD does not only teach or research what should be done, but actually we do what needs to be done. I would say that in the last 2 years, 3 years now already, a lot of alumni have been engaged with the Institute, and you'll hear more about the Institute later on from Catel. The sixth trend, and I have singled it out, I've always talked about sustainability within business and society, but I've singled it out of the other things within the business and society because it is just so important that today we think about the impact that we have on the environment. And we have introduced courses or materials in the core courses, electives, executive education, outreach. I think it is our responsibility that when we send our students out there, they understand what is ESG, what are different ratings, what are different accounting principles, and they can actually change the strategies and have an impact in the companies where they're working. And this would not have been possible without the support from our alumni, without the campaign that we started in 2013. Our campaign for INSEAD, A Force for Good, was based on the 3 V's, values, vision, ventures. We had a target also. We had a target of 250 million euros, and we have surpassed this target. We're now at 272 million euros. But we don't stop here because we can still increase the impact that the school is having on this world. I want to thank all of you who have participated, who have made the campaign successful. Thank you. And I want to invite everybody to participate in our Giving Day, which is happening on June 3rd. INSEAD Giving Day, participation is very important. Participation is key to our success. So once again, I want to thank you for joining us today in this virtual alumni forum.